What's up, YouTube? This is Brandon at the Movies here, bringing guys a new movie review. I'm reviewing Terrifier 3. I just got out of the theaters about 20 minutes ago. Just got home, and I wanted to come out and talk about it because this is easily the best of the three films so far. Um, and Terrifier 2 was fucking awesome, was fucking great too. But what Terrifier 3 does, it brings back, it keeps the some of the supernatural elements from the second film, but brings back the the darker elements of what that first one was, and it mixes them together, and it works really damn good. And yeah, this is a blast, and the lore they add to this film, explaining about how with Art and Vicky, who plays actually a much bigger part than I think a lot of people were expecting, in a very um, uh, you know a big surprise, because no one knew how much you're gonna have Vicky in this film, and she does a great job. The actress who plays her does a great job. She was in the first, she was in the end of the second, and coming back for the third, and she does a really good job how they use her and how it helps with the art and the supernatural element. It's really good. Um, so it's 5 years after the incident, after the aftermath of it. Lauren Laverne Vera's character Sienna goes and moves in with her aunt and uncle, and is hoping to readjust, but obviously that is not going to be the case, because Art is now is back, and along with Vicky are the tear shit up literally. And the gore, the kills are damn right great. The budget of this movie is, I think, $2 million from what I read, but I don't want to put it out, but it was definitely a couple $1 million. It's not 5 million. I think it's under that. Someone reported 5 million, but it's under that. And it shows the way how things are shot, and just areas you're seeing much more open places, which is a really cool thing to go from where they were in the first one all the way to here. It's just really just happy to see how far this is, going in terms of, the budget and being able to do more things. They take more chances in terms of going one step further, and they do take one step further. There is a line that Damien doesn't cross as much as he crosses a bit more than you think, but then he knows where he wants to keep that line at, which I totally respect and totally understand, but it's still really effective in the way he does it. And I have to give him props for that, to be able to, know your limits to a point where this is still one of the goriest films you will ever see. It is gorier than I think 1 and 2, and all three of these are just the goriest things you'll probably ever see released in a theater that had theatrical releases. And they do a great job. And this is the first they brought in a makeup company, because he had a bigger budget to work with, where he's still hands-on. He said in an interview that he's still hands-on, but he wasn't like where it was just him and his assistant on the first two. He had much more help here, and it shows really well. The cinematography is outstanding. The Christmas setting is amazing, and it fits so well in the horror genre. It had this great. What I also liked, it had this kind of grainy feel to it, especially in the Christmas elements. Like the opening sequence really feels like that, and that opening sequence really feels really intense and dark. And I'll tell you that, like, for some that might be too much. The chainsaw sequence is absolutely great. I think you can at least. I think. I still have. I think the bedroom scene a little higher than the chainsaw, the shower scene, just because I think it has more of an emotional effect. Like, you feel, I the character that you're dealing, you feel for more of the character in the bedroom scene, the shower scene. It's a mixed bag there, because there's one character you know, you don't hate, and there's another character that's is really over the top and just like is kind of asking for it through the film, and I'll get to that in a bit. But the atmosphere also is again terrific in just the way certain shots that Damien's able to get, and the way he's able to like, and they bring in this like old like haunted house, and it's just really, it's creepy, and it feels sinister, and it's just like really just cool, the makeup effects and everything. But what is, obviously is great, but what really stands out here is Lauren Rivera as Sienna. She just kills it. She goes for it in this one. She is, emotional. She's dealing with things. She's seeing things, and she doesn't know what's real or not. And there's a moment in this movie, and it's not a violent scene, but it's a scene with a character, and she just, gives it to them, and you're just like, I wanted to clap. Like, I didn't want to, I don't yell out. I'm like, I want to say fuck yeah, because this character I'll get to, who's a new addition into this film, is really, really not someone I would want to be involved, like be around or anything like that. But she just, she's just so good. I'm Hollywood or bigger studios for bigger movies. You have someone here, and Lauren is definitely a star. Go please hire her for a bunch of other things. That's I think that's how good she was in this film. You also bring back Elliot Fulham as Jonathan. I think he's solid. I think he's better here than he was in the second one, and I think he was solid in the second one. I will say is I do feel like he doesn't get as much time in this one. But I think he's still solid, and he's likable. Him and Sienna have their ways of dealing with this PTSD of what happened 5 years ago, and they deal with it in different ways. And I think they do really feel like brother and sister, and just where this actually ends up going, it's just, oh man, it's not for the faint of heart. This movie is definitely I would definitely say if you're not into gore, because this still the story goes even further, and the lore's even much more, but it definitely is still a very heavy gore film. So keep that in mind. Terrifier is not for people who are not into gore, not into this, because it's still very, very gross and really, really over the top and messed up. So just keep that in mind. But the story is goes even more, and that's what I'm impressed with what Damien has been able to do from that first, knowing that's a concept, a tease, and seeing what audience wanted, and then he's like, okay, I need to be better as a screenwriter, and he has shown from 2 to 3 how much he's improved for a story like this, and I can't wait to see more, because I think he did announce that Fantastic Fist Terrifier 4 is in the works, which, yes, it's going to be interesting how people think about that ending, because the way the movie wraps up, you're just like, that's an interesting way to end this film. There's a new character in this film, and she's kind of a mixed bag for me. I think she's the one character I'm like, I get the point. I think she was just a bit over top. She does this true crimes podcast, and she's like really obsessed with Jonathan and Sienna's story, and that she wants to get on for interviews. but man, she's so thick. She's so heavy about it, over the top. Like it really. I think that's the point, because there are people like that. But man, is she a character that you do not like at all. And the reason I would say it's a mixed bag, because that can be frustrating, and that can be like, okay, you want to, in this, I think this universe, you kind of want to like your like outside of like, well, you want to like most of your characters, so you have an emotional thing. But to be fair, your emotional connections are Jonathan or Sienna and Jonathan, whereas everyone else, and Sienna's aunt, uncle, and niece, I think are obviously, you're supposed to care about. Now they also introduce Gabby, Sienna's niece, and she's solid, she's likable, but though she also gets frustrating too, because she doesn't listen to what Sienna says in the movie about certain things. And I think some people will take that as certain, what with her personality is like. Eventually, it does lead to somewhere with when she does do that, but you do get this like, it's like, why don't you just listen to her? But again, you're so close to someone, and you're like by their side, you want to know what's wrong, especially because why she's coming out of the hospital, and why they haven't seen each other for 5 years. So it's you're like wondering, you're like, she's curious, and I get that. So I'm not as mad at, like, frustrated with that. There was a couple times where you're just like, okay, you said you wouldn't do that, but you did. But understandably, compared to the podcast girl, yeah, I'll take Gabby over any character any day. David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, and he just keeps on finding other ways to be, funny, and just downright despicable in terms of the way he kills. And it's just something to watch in terms of just how he performs. He's just great. And I think it was Samantha Samantha S, who plays Vicky. She does a terrific job. Like I said in the beginning, I know I'm kind of repeating this, but I think she steals the show in a way for me, because she was someone, you're not knowing what she's going to be. Some people thought she was going to only be there for a few seconds, and no, she's there throughout the film, and I really like that. And again, it helps you figure out, like, there's something like with Art and her, or why she's with Art. There's more to it. It delves into that lore of why Art and Vicky are they're that way. I think specifically Vicky, but you get the sense of why it's with Art too. But yeah, this is just easily the best of the franchise. Again, like I said, it goes pretty dark. Even when you still have the hilarious moments with Art, it's supposed to kind of take away the darkness, but it feels that way, especially when you get into that third act. It feels like that way, where it's just kind of it for some people it might be too much, that third act. I do think that third act gets to a lot, because for it the way it goes, it's just insane. And I know this is a little longer than I thought I was going to go, but I give this, with the way it ends, it definitely sets up a fourth film. Like he said, there's going to be a fourth one. So the story is not wrapped up yet. So ultimately, I think it ends on an interesting way. I would give this a 5 out of 5. I think for the film, it's what it's going for. Does it live up to a pass by Terrifier 2? Yes. Story wise, the lore, I think you get a lot of creative kills. The shower scene is the closest thing to the bedroom scene, and I could see people going the shower scene over the bedroom scene, but it's really close there. But I would like, it's easily it's 1A 1B kind of thing. So, but I would give this a 5 out of 5, hands down for this. Yeah, I love this. I think I can't wait to see this again. I can't wait to get the 4K Blu-ray Steelbook. Um, yeah, again, I hope you guys do go and check this out. Let me know what you guys thought. This is Brand at the Movies. Signing off. Peace.